following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Holy dude, are you serious? Phil Kessel in Vancouver. Phil Kessel training in Abbotsford. Phil Kessel, possibly a member of your Vancouver Canucks. When? In 5 minutes? In 10 minutes? And I'll tell you what, it's not so the Canucks can improve in their bottom six. I don't think that's the case. I'm doing the math. I'm thinking of an all-American line, okay? I think the top six needs a lot of help. And who knows? I'm not a hockey player. I'm not a championship pedigree coaching staff, okay? Maybe they know something that we don't know. And maybe Phil Kessel is the answer for that top six. We got to talk about that and that game against the Blackhawks. What? Are you serious? Life as a Canucks fan? Let's do this. Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yo. Welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Kyle Bowen. This right here is the show that gives you that West Coast bias and gives you your Canucks every day. Almost every hour. It is what it is. Again, this show produced in the Don't Doze Art Lab. The only thing we do at the Don't Doze Art Lab is give you that West Coast bias. We got to do it. The Canucks continue to be a first-place team. They continue to be first place in the news when it comes to the hockey world. And because of that, you're going to see a lot of this. You're going to hear a lot of this. Living the dream. I said it earlier. And we're doing that right now. Speaking of the dream. Is this a dream? Phil Kessel, really? Out of all seasons, uses this season that's felt so weird, so strange, so excellent, so bizarre, so satisfying, so fascinating, so WTF. This is the season where he's like, you know what? There's 27, 28 games left in the regular season. I'm going to go play in Vancouver. You can't make this ish up. I'll say it again. You cannot make this ish up. Alvin, Rutherford, Tocchet, they know something. They see something. They think this team can go all the way, and they clearly think they're missing a lot. Could that be the case? We'll talk about that in 10 minutes, okay? Because even though that's the big news, right? I was about to swear there. Phil Kessel to the Canucks. We just played a game. We just beat the Blackhawks, which isn't, something to really brag about. But when you see that performance, again, from the third line of your Vancouver Canucks, how can you not think that your team, that also is full of all-stars, has a really good chance to go deep into the playoffs? I might as well get it tattooed on my head. The Vancouver Canucks had the best third line in hockey. So consistent. On a mission. Bluger, Joshua. Contract years. Bluger, Joshua, really good players. How about this? Look at the numbers. Look at the way he's been playing. Is Connor Garland 5-on-5 a top 50 NHL forward? He's doing crazy things this season. What's the numbers in his last 25 games? I think Garland has 19 points. 18 points in his last 25 games. All 5-on-5. This guy's on a heater. And all season long. From game 1 all the way to this game. Well, what is it, game 52? Well, what's the stats? I can't do the math. He's been one of our best players. And since late October, whether it was Suter or Bluger, this guy has been a big part of the best line for the Vancouver Canucks, let alone one of the best third lines in hockey. Again, they're one of the best lines on this team, if not the best line. It's crazy because they got Pettersson, they got Miller, they got Hughes, they got Besser, they got Hronek. They got like a lot of other things that should be getting so much credit for this team's success. But you can't talk about the Vancouver Canucks being in first place without that third line getting a huge Huge part of the pie. They're driving play. They're creating penalties. They're creating chances. They're doing it. They're doing it all. I'm at a loss for words. I can't believe it sometimes. And here they are continuing to do the most. Dakota Joshua, 2 goals. No, 1 goal. Sorry. Dakota Joshua, 1 goal, 1 assist, and a fight. The Gordie Howe hat trick. Connor Garland, 2 goals. Teddy Blueger playing with tenacity on every shift. So impressive. Can we stick on Dakota Joshua all over the place? Okay, Kyle Bound, talking Canucks, feeling high because your Vancouver Canucks are way up there in the standings. Man, oh man, Dakota Joshua. The more and more he does that, the more and more I'm getting more impatient for a Pettersson extension, a Hronek extension, because man, oh man, this team's got to sign Dakota Joshua. Really good. Somewhat of an outlier. Not only on this team, but across the league. That's what it feels like. How much are you paying Dakota Joshua? We ask this question every week. And we ask those questions prior to maybe his best game as a Canuck. I don't say that lightly, but again, you're playing the Blackhawks. You're up 4-2. There's 3.5 minutes left. And Connor Garland gets hit behind the net. Not the craziest of hits. It's a hard hit, but he gets hit. And what does Joshua do? He puts his body on the line. He drops the gloves. He asks for it. Asks for what? I don't know. Maybe a punch to the face. A different level of brotherhood between him and everyone on the Vancouver Canucks, because he's that guy. He'll do that. He'll stand up for the boys and also put up, 25 points? All 5-on-5, I'm assuming. Maybe something shorthanded. But again, Dakota Joshua doing the most. Doing it all and producing offense. 25 points already. 13 goals already. Can I add that a couple of them, seems like a lot of them, have been pretty damn nice too? Look, I'm not saying overpay and do the most to keep Dakota Joshua on the team, but I am saying sign Dakota Joshua. How much? I don't know. Look at this. Okay, Tyler. Saying pay him the Jay Beagle special. Man, oh man. $3 million. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Look, the more and more this goes, the more expensive these guys are going to be. Assuming that they're going to be in the playoffs for a little bit, the dollar goes up then because that's good for the brand, Playing every night on Hockey Night in Canada and, again, doing the most. It's good for the brand when you're UFA, right? And again, I use the term outlier. He's different. He stands out. The more success he has, the more expensive he's going to be. But, I got to throw this out there, too. Mind games, man. Alvin, Rutherford, Tocchet, they're champions. We aren't. That's the truth. Okay, that's why I'm going to say this. They know what they're doing. Maybe they're okay with staying patient, right? Following the pecking order, right? Alvin talking about the pecking order when it comes to the task list for roster management, right? And he knows that Pettersson and that extension is at the top of the list. And before you can touch anything, you got to get that done no matter what. Maybe he's patient. Also, because you might as well. You might as well lean into the psychology, right? That's part of sports. Have these guys doing the most, fighting for their next contract all the way to the very end. Get the most out of them. Lafferty, Joshua, Blueger, Ian Cole, etc. A lot of UFAs on this team. A lot of important UFAs on this team. A couple weeks ago, it's sign Teddy Blueger first. after Hronek and Pettersson. Now it's signed Dakota Joshua. ASAP. Unreal. What a performance. And I'll mention it again, him dropping the gloves, Dakota Joshua, that is, that hit my heart, okay? That warmed me up. Because I feel like he didn't have to do it, but he did it. Because it's cool being a Vancouver Canuck again. Like, you can't do that to one of our guys. Especially Connor Garland, who is playing as if he's the best forward on this team, as if he's one of the best forwards in hockey. And it just brings up things, right? You start thinking about September, August, July of last year. So much conversation around Connor Garland. Everyone knows that he's a really good player and, he can get the 50 points and he never gets on the power play, blah, blah, blah. But there's still so much conversation about trading that type of guy to get cap relief. And fast forward to the now, and every single team in hockey would want a Connor Garland playing the way he's playing because he's play driving. He's the man with the puck. He wants the puck. He's a mother effer. He's making things happen. He's making people around him better. He's never given up. He's full of everything. He's a player that every team would want. Yet he was a guy that we were open to trading for cap space. It's a lot of things, right? Winning makes everything look sexier. I know that. But at the same time, this guy, Connor Garland, has been a pretty good hockey player his whole career in the NHL. I know post-signing that contract, it never really lived up to our quote-unquote expectations because, A, the team sucked, he didn't help us win, and B, we wanted more points. But I think the eye test always told you that this guy, he knew what he was doing the whole time. He's been a good hockey player the whole time, and it's really paying dividends right now. What a player and a guy that he's not going anywhere. Like, you know what? No matter how far this team goes, right? If he continues to play like this the whole way through till the last game of the season, there is no way Rutherford and Alvin are letting him go for cap relief. I can't believe we did that, okay? 12 minutes of being all over the place with everything Vancouver Canucks over the last couple of hours. Seriously, the last 5 hours has been hectic for the Canucks and their fan base. We haven't got to the comments, yo. What's going on in the comments? Well, one love to everyone watching this. Shout out to you and you and you and you. Look at this, man. SK93, my favorite hockey superstar, Kyle Bowen. Bro, 1 year nominated for an MVP trophy. Didn't win it. So that's why we don't talk about it, okay? How about Angelo? The Canucks need grit. Did you say this because, again, Phil Kessel in Abbotsford, maybe at Boston Pizza in Guilford, right? You kind of have to get there before you get to Abbotsford from Vancouver. Maybe he made the pit stop. Maybe he's at Tap House. Maybe he's doing his thing, enjoying the scenery, trying to, soak in everything Lower Mainland with the Vancouver Canucks. Because soon, yes, very soon, it's going to be his home. How about this? How do you pronounce this? Ari Mikheyev is really about to get scratched for Phil Kessel. I don't think so. I think the Canucks, and this is part of their plan, and again, they know a lot more than we do. I think they are really hoping and praying that maybe, just maybe, Phil Kessel can actually be a top 6 guy, because I think they might want to load up / try to duplicate something similar to what the third line is giving you, with a long runway for Suter, Mikheyev, and Lafferty to find something. Because if I say those 3 names again, Suter, Lafferty, and Mikheyev, I don't know. Something just tells me that could work. That could be a really hard line to play against in the playoffs as your fourth line. And look at lefty. A lot of it has to do with this, right? I still like Mikheyev. He does seldom make defensive mistakes, right? Let's just focus on the positives, right? Because right now everyone is targeting Mikheyev, man. They want the most out of Mikheyev. Mikheyev, keep doing more. We want more. When was the last time he scored a goal? Training camp? It feels like that right now. But here's the truth. Just like the top 6 for your Vancouver Canucks, that no longer includes him. And that's more to do with Höglander than it does with Phil Kessel, let's be honest. But just like, that statement, we need more from the top six. And when we know we're going to get it, I think those guys in that dressing room and that coaching staff knows that they can still get a lot more from Ilya Mikheyev. And what if they get a lot more from Ilya Mikheyev and he's allowed to just be a fourth liner? See, now your mind's working. You get what I'm saying? Disturbed. Amon and Lafferty get scratched. Mikheyev will keep a spot in the lineup. That's a good point. Amon and Lafferty may be fighting for that last spot. And let's be honest, Mikheyev has to produce a little for him not to be a part of that conversation because you're still getting paid what? Under $5 million? You're up there. What's the number on Mikheyev? Is it like 4.4 or something? I'm just Kyle Bound, okay? He's still got to produce a bit, but he doesn't have to produce as much as we would need him to be producing if he was the guy playing with Pettersson. How about Elston, man? Eating a glizzy right now, yo. Can everyone throw their hot dogs up in the air, man? If you got a hot dog, throw it up in the air. Because Phil Kessel is coming home. Phil Kessel not replacing Niels Höglander, though, in the top six. So much more to talk about. We'll do that in a couple of minutes. But first, I think we got to run some ads, man. Shout out to all our sponsors, man. Doing the most for us, supporting us. Shout out to you and you and you and you and you and you producing. You guys are helping producing the show too. Going back to the comments, you guys make my job so much easier. And that's what we're going to do the rest of the way on this episode of Locked On Canucks. Again, shout out to our sponsors. Let's give some love to who? I think eBay Motors.
eBay Motors is everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts to choose from for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Woo! Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash, baby. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. And items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guarantee Fit only available to U.S. customers. It's past the halfway point of the season, and Canucks fans, you cheer for the best goddamn team in the NHL. If you want to be the best at something else, make sure you go play some daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is my number one choice for daily fantasy sports and especially daily fantasy hockey. Because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you have to do is pick whether studs like JT Miller, Brock Besser, or Quinn Hughes will record more or less than their Sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus, minus, and more in a given game. To win a 100 times bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8-player stats. You heard me, Canucks fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability.
Okay, we back on this episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Kyle Bowen. Doing this thing off the dome, man, because, my dome is connected to my heart. And right now, my heart is full of assuming the best with the first love, man. And we got to speak about love because Valentine's Day is tomorrow, yo. Am I the only one here watching this right now, listening to this right now, that fell in love with the Vancouver Canucks at an early age, thus, selecting it as the first thing you love after you love your parents? Because that was the truth for me. This team means the most, man. Means the most. Yo, if there was a game tomorrow on Valentine's Day, based on what we're doing right now, we're a first place team, right? We got to watch every game. You got to be plugged in. This is the best thing ever. I would so ditch my girl on that Valentine's Day dinner. That's just the truth. Because I'm loyal. I love the Canucks first before I loved her. Do the math. Hey, speaking of the math, I can't do the math. Game 54, yo, Jay, he's an intelligent guy. That's how many games we've already played this season, which tells me that there's 28 games left in the season. And, bro, think about this. I've been assuming, trying to, put it out there that the Canucks are winning the cup. I've been already to June. I feel as if half my body is there. But the truth is, the only way we get there is by taking it game by game. There's still 28 games left in the regular season. There's still a lot of flaws with this team. I'm still seeing it game in and game out. And it's okay to have that happen if you have Thatcher Demko in the best third line in hockey. Because there's other ways, aka a lot of ways, for this team to find W's for real. This all being said, you got to get it together, though, in full motion to go on a deep playoff run, because you can't have JT Miller, Brock Besser taking 5 games off. You can't have Pettersson and Lindholm not looking good for a 3-game stretch, a 4-game stretch. Because before you know it, you're down 3-1, or you blew a playoff game, right? You can't have those things happen in the playoffs. So the chemistry, the flow, the overall play 5-on-5 for those top 2 lines needs to be a lot better. Am I saying too much? Am I wanting too much? Am I looking at this wrong? Again, the Canucks, first place, all those guys, all-stars, the goal differential, it's there. But it's evident, real evident, that they can get a lot better. And a lot of it falls on the shoulders of Lindholm, Besser, Pettersson, and Miller, 5-on-5. I might as well add somebody else into that mix. Höglander. He's staying there. Nils Höglander, 17 goals already this season. I believe all those goals have to be at even strength. Which means what? Nils Höglander has arrived. He's really good. And if he's playing with Pettersson for the next 28 games, which I think needs to happen more for Pettersson's sake than for Höglander, there's a chance this guy gets to 25, 26, 27. Because he has it in him. We've seen the highlights. There's a reason why he got drafted in the second round. And yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of it does have to do with his tenacity, right? His energy, his work rate. He's one of those guys. He's a baller. But a lot of it at the time, his draft value had to do with his skill, his awareness around the net, with the puck on his stick. Guy's pretty good offensively. And another goal today. And look at this, man. Look at this stat. Okay, I think this came from Cam Robinson, I believe. He did the research here. I might have got that wrong. But if I did, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm just Kyle Bound. Nils Höglander quietly has more goals than Mark Stone, Mika Zibanejad, Evgeny Malkin, Nikolai Ehlers, and Tage Thompson. That's pretty sick. And I mentioned it earlier, right? He's probably going to play with Pettersson ideally the rest of the way. That's kind of how we see it. Makes sense. The other guy on that line, it's Elias Lindholm. That's kind of what I want to see moving forward here. I want to see a runway here, okay? Before we have to, pull the plug on balancing things out and play the lotto line, I want to see a runway of these 3 Swedish players doing the most. Allowing to find chemistry, okay? And I thought this game from Lindholm and Pettersson was the most noticeable game out of their 3 games together. 5-on-5, I think they generated chances, not at will, but they did have chances in the last 40 minutes of play. Again, a lot of room left for imagination. But hey, they took strides today. And on that goal that Höglander scored, Lindholm did a lot of the work. Lindholm made a play that, I don't know, looks playoffy with his effort, his tenacity, his awareness that freed up the puck to Höglander to score that goal. And I guess what I'm trying to say is he made a play that Kuzmenko would never ever make. So he's taking strides. I'm going to take it one game at a time. And that's kind of how it's got to be with the progression. Okay. If I didn't see anything in Lindholm today, I'd be kind of not concerned, but demanding more. But because he made the small things happen, and again, 5-on-5, he was a bit better. I need to see a runway here. And I'm more than optimistic that, good things are going to happen. Now let's keep the all Swedish line together. And now let's look at the All-American line. Oh, my God. We did it 25 minutes into this, okay? We're in the moment. I'm trying to stay even keel, okay? And we're finally going to do it. We're going to talk about Phil Kessel. Unreal. Phil Kessel in Vancouver. Picture taken. I saw a picture of him at the airport with all of his hockey gear. That's nuts. Dollywall saying that he's heading to Abbotsford, right, to train. Everything's happening so quick, and then boom, the Canucks confirm it. That he's doing just that. He's landed in Vancouver, and he's going to Abbotsford to train. And then I saw, a Dave Pinota tweet that said the plan is for Kessel to do somewhat of a conditioning stint in Abbotsford for a really short time before signing with the Vancouver Canucks. And this may not make a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. I think a lot of people are connecting Phil Kessel and his place on the team in the bottom six, which again allows them to make those conclusions. But man, oh man, again, I think this team, Rutherford, Alvin, and Tocchet, understand that there's room to play a bigger card here and lean into the possibility that they can get to Phil Kessel and have him play at a level above what he did last year. And what he did last year was 36 points in 82 games. He didn't play much in the playoffs, but I don't think that's what they're looking for. I think they're looking for somebody who may have a chance again at a low cost to bring fun and excitement into Miller and Besser's game. Add some swagger to that line. Because all season long, 5-on-5, consistently speaking, there hasn't been a lot of swagger from those guys. Phil Kessel, is he that card? Hey, it's Phil Kessel, more notably, because again, I'm being delusional thinking that this guy can, do the most at his age after missing a full season and playing, now playing with the Canucks. This guy's going to be more than a half a point per game player? Again, that's me asking for the most. Hey, maybe Rutherford, Alvin, and Tocchet know that, hey, there's a lot of pressure on the Vancouver Canucks that is coming. It's coming. This is something that they've never seen before. This core. And we know they're good. And we know they've taken steps. And we know they're professionals. And we know that they're playing at a high-end level. Putting the league on notice. But they don't know what's coming. And what's coming is massive expectations. You're also going to get the best from every team you play. It's about to get a lot different. And maybe it's a lot easier to handle any type of adversity when you have one of the coolest guys in hockey in your dressing room, keeping things light. And this is not a Michael Del Zotto type of move, right? You got to bring in that cool dude who plays the great music, keep the room light, okay? It's not one of those moves because Phil Kessel is a champion. And he's been a big part on the ice of those Pittsburgh Penguins championship teams, right? He's done it on the ice where it matters, where you can brag a bit. And then he's also done it in the room with Vegas last year. Maybe it is a moral type of play that they're trying to use here, some psychology, okay? I don't know. I've never won a championship in the NHL, okay? I cheer for the Vancouver Canucks. I got to think of all these things because this move seems so random. So random. Name and brand aside of Phil Kessel, that player type at this time of the NHL season on this roster with guys like, again, Garland doing a lot, Höglander doing a lot. Do you need Phil Kessel to replace Sam Lafferty? No. They're looking for something else. They got to be. Phil Kessel doesn't fill in that fourth line role. Maybe he doesn't fill in that top line role too, but maybe they need a guy that's, again, knows what to say, knows what joke to crack after a loss in the dressing room. I know it sounds crazy, but bro, that guy seems like one of those cool dudes who's like, yo, talk it. I'll come hang out with you for a couple of months. I'll train hard. I'll do my thing. I'll stay in shape. I'll be around the boys. Let's go get another cup. It's fun traveling with your bros, winning hockey games. You know what I'm saying? He's willing to do whatever it takes. Can we go back to my delusion, though, okay? Is there any chance that Phil Kessel can rejuvenate his career, be what? A guy who gets 4 points every 6 games? Can he do that for the Vancouver Canucks? Can he maybe do more and add a lot of value to Besser and Miller's game? Make that all-American line, okay? Think about that. The Canucks are going to bring home the Stanley Cup. Bring the cup back to Canada, right? Because that matters to all these Canadians. I don't care about that stuff. But they're going to do that with having the all-American line, right? Phil Kessel, JT Miller, Brock Besser, the all-IKEA line, the Swedish line. Elias Pettersson, Elias Lindholm, Niels Höglander in their top 6. That's something else, man. Let me know in the comments below, though. Can Kessel rejuvenate his career with Tocchet, with this philosophy? He's been there before, with some good players around him. What are the chances? A lot of people saying 0. Let's get to the comments. Okay, we got Trevor Beggs, man. Why aren't you on here, bro? What's the bigger story? Kessel joining the Canucks or Dakota Joshua on pace for 20 goals? Bro, what type of question is that? Obviously, it's Phil Kessel joining the Vancouver Canucks. This is like hockey lore. Dude, how about this? Phil Kessel may hit 1,000 points with the Vancouver Canucks. Who would have thought that? This story that's being written right now, I said it 3 or 4 weeks ago, it feels like a dream. It feels like somebody's playing a prank on me. But I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this dream to come true and for me to read the book on this version of the Vancouver Canucks, because this has been too entertaining. What a turn of events. Where were we in September? Do us a favor. Go watch some of our episodes from September, okay? I'm pretty sure I got choked at Phil DiGiuseppe. Like, really choked, really sad, confused. Contemplated everything Vancouver Canucks when I saw that guy debut in the top 6 to start off what was this season. And that's one of the most important seasons in Vancouver Canucks history. Hey, one love to Steven, man, for the super chat, man. I'm getting my girl something for Valentine's Day with that, okay? Hey, speaking of that, okay, I think Jay got mad at me because I said, yo, if the Canucks were playing tomorrow on Valentine's Day, I would have to skip the dinner to go watch the game, okay? And he said, no matter what, how diehard you are, your partner should always come first. Speaking of first, the Vancouver Canucks are first in the league, okay? Do the math. How about this? Ari, $4 million a year for Dakota Joshua. Man, oh man. It's going to take one of those things, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Vancouver Canucks, this city, it's a beautiful place. Look at the weather, right? The weather recently. Vancouver's sexy, right? Like, right now, it's sexy. And when the team is good, it's an appetizing place to play, a.k.a. a place where you may take less to continue your hockey journey in the West Coast, the best coast of Canada. This all being said, if Dakota Joshua gets offered $4 million by any team, he's going to sign that deal. The Canucks, no matter how big of a pay cut, whatever that means, Pettersson is willing to take on this next deal. I don't think the Canucks can pay $4 million for Dakota Joshua. Even if Hronek takes a pay cut, that's a lot of money, man. What's the number? How about this? Is this for real? I can't be the only one, man. Maybe Kessel could be an addition on the power play and put Lindholm on the second set. Bro, I'm about to rant about the power play. Yo, I don't think... this has to be the truth, okay? Lindholm got here, and the Canucks were like, you know what? We're looking at this 5-game road trip. Look at the standings. Let's experiment a bit, right? Let's move a lot of things around. Put Lindholm in front of the net. You would think that's all they would do, but they're like, you know what? Let's also move Miller from the place he's done everything at, right? He's been so dynamic at. Who does it better than JT Miller from that side of the ice on a power play as a playmaker? Let's take that guy away from that position and move Besser there. Dude, what's going on? I think when they get back home, that's one of the first changes, okay? Miller's going back to being Quinn Hughes's best pal on the power play, right? That's going to happen. And here's another thing. When the power play was working early on in the road trip, when they had 2 goals, quote unquote working, what did they do? They just put shots on net. And Lindholm got some tip-ins. Bro, over the last couple of games, they've been what? 0 for 11 on the power play, 0 for 12 on the power play. They're barely shooting the puck. They're overthinking things. Keep it simple. Put some more pucks on net. Things got to change. Look at this. Zarfi, okay? He says if Pettersson takes $10 million, we can win 3 flipping cups. Bro, this may... Okay, you know what? Who knows what's going to happen to me in the future? Because I always say this. I just want one. I just want one Stanley Cup. This all being said, you know, when Pat Mahomes just won his 3rd Super Bowl, the first thing he said after he won that one was his appetite for the 4th was the first thing on his mind. And that's some psychopath-ish, but man, oh man. Go Canucks go, right? Go Canucks go. Us against the world. How about Disturbed? Okay, look at Kessel's neck size. The guy is a beast. Neck size? Man, oh man. I heard that Dakota Joshua, and look at this comment from Trevor, okay? Dakota Joshua is too hard for Toronto. Was Dakota a former Leaf product? I think so, right? I think so. I guess that's it, though, okay? I got to go. I got to go to the gym. Phil Kessel, we'll talk more about it with Trevor tomorrow, okay? He's a smart one. I'm going to ask him like 50 questions. Again, I think they, think he has a lot more to give, right? He's going to be somebody that they use to get the top 6 really going into overdrive. Like, they hope that there's a chance for that because he still is Phil Kessel. And B, they understand that they need to put pieces in place that can help the room stay light when things get quote unquote tough, okay? When they get dark, when the pressure's on, when you got to be resilient, when the playoffs are here. And Phil Kessel, he's one of the coolest guys in the NHL who happens to be a champion, like a real champion, one of the best players in hockey over the last 15 years, right? He's one of those guys. The Vancouver Canucks doing anything it takes to maximize this season. A season in which they've completely flipped the script. How are we talking about signing Phil Kessel on February 13th? Bro, if he signs tomorrow on Valentine's Day, are you serious, man? Are you serious? Bro, it don't get better than the Vancouver Canucks, man. Anyways, my name's Kyle Bowen, KYLEBHAWAN. One love to the Locked On Podcast Network. Because, man, they got that culture, man. They say, hey, tell the people it's your team every day. I tell the people it's your Canucks every day. They doing the most. Hey, shout out to the West Coast Bias. Shout out to the Don't Do's Art Lab for only doing that and caring about their neighbors so much, man. Straight up, you got to look after your neighbors before you look after the world. And one love to you and you and you and you and you and you. Take care. Go Canucks go. And have a good morning, a good afternoon, a good night. I don't know when you're listening to this, but hey, we appreciate it. Peace.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On